Since you're off, I guess you had to be here for the 50th anniversary of the pit.
Man, absolutely. It just happened to work out, for me, that it was a bye week, and didn't have a game, and I wouldn't miss, this opportunity to be here to celebrate the 50 years at the pit than anything in the world. So I'm excited to be here.
What are you thinking about tonight when you think about the pit and Booster Stadium?
Man, this is where it all started for me. Little did I know, just playing Pop Warner football under Coach Callaway, that I would be, coaching in the NFL, having the career that I did as a player, and then going to Clemson, and just a lot of good memories out here, man. And it's kind of gives me a little bit of goosebumps to be standing out here right now with the lights. It's just a different type of smell with high school football.
I guess you'll be one of the young guys coming back tonight.
Yeah, man, I was up there, conversating and socializing with the guys, and they're all older than, 50s and 60s, some 70s. But it's good to see, those who came before me and kind of paved the way, with this Toons kind of Bulldog tradition, which we have a great tradition here.
When you were a little boy, did you come to the pit every Friday night?
Yes, I did, man. One of the things I remember as a child, I wanted to be a ball boy, just to be out here and be a part of it. Just the fans, the atmosphere. Kind of unique that we're playing Dodge County. Obviously, Rex Hodges used to be here, and man, I was a little intimidated by him. He was a different type of guy back then, a young Rex Hodges, and man, I was just excited to be able to get to high school and be a bulldog, not a bull pup anymore.
Hey, let's go, buckled up, ready to go. Let's go, let's go. Catch and crew out with the specialties. Let's go. Buckle up, buckle up.
Yeah, only I. Good dog.
Never got to play on that field. We won the region championship in 1964 here with an 8-1-1 record, but we beat Vidalia and Hawkinsville, which eliminated them, and we got to go to the playoffs. We ran into Bradwell Institute, and that was the end of the playoffs, but we had a good time.
What do you think about tonight?
I'm just enjoying this right now. Sure would love to see our team pull an upset, but I think Rex has got a real good team, but you never know.
It's a great time for us all to be together. We're all very much endeared to each other. We're really bonded when we played sports here, and we consider ourselves foxhole buddies in many respects because of the good times out on the field. But it was an honor to play here, and I always appreciate the support of everybody at Lyons. That was the greatest part about it. Building the stadium was a inch-by-inch sort of effort by a lot of people in the community, and it really was something to be very proud of. And of course, I couldn't say anything about this occasion without saying something about the people who weren't here, couldn't be here, including, for one, my best friend Richard Brown. But a lot of the fans and the supporters of the Bulldogs over the years too. Wish they could be here tonight and help celebrate.
Could you describe opening night when y'all played Reedsville in 1965, what it was like here at Booster Stadium?
It was a tropical storm of mega proportions. The field was new. It wasn't very well established as far as the sod, and it was nothing but a swamp. And oddly, the same thing happened the year before in Reedsville. We played in a swirling downpour, and we had no passing game. It was all about the running game, and we just couldn't slog through enough to win. That was the biggest disappointment of my senior year, is not getting some revenge on Reedsville that year.
Well, you didn't win that game, but you came back and beat Claxton for the first win of the pit, 9-0. Was that a touchdown and a safety, or a field goal and a 6-pointer, or what?
I honestly don't remember. I think it was a touchdown, missed extra point, and a field goal.
What do you remember about the game?
I think we kind of got our legs, you know, after a disappointing opening game with Reedsville. We went on to win the next 4 or 5 games, I think, and then lost to Metter, I believe, and then Vidalia, then beat ECI. I can't really remember the schedule, but we came close to winning 9 ball games that year, but close is not good enough.
Do you get back to Booster Stadium often since you live up near Atlanta?
You know, I don't. I come see my mother quite a bit, but well, not quite a bit, not nearly often enough. But the last game that I saw here at Booster Stadium was when Tavares Tillman played here for it was a playoff game, and he was going to Georgia Tech the next year. And I'd heard a lot about Tavares, what a great player he was. I was so proud of his accomplishments.
Well, you went to Georgia Tech. What kind of career did you have at Tech?
Well, kind of on and off. I walked on at Georgia Tech. I had other scholarship offers, but I wanted to go to Georgia Tech. I walked on and earned a scholarship after a spring practice of my freshman year. I started every freshman game and led the team in interceptions, and they gave me a scholarship. And I actually started some games on the varsity as a sophomore. And then I shared duties with another guy who was a senior the rest of my sophomore year. I came back my junior year and tore a growing muscle in preseason, and it took me most of the season to get over that. And I had lost my position by that time and couldn't earn it back. I was on special teams, but I wasn't starting corner anymore. My senior year, I popped a hamstring in preseason. And those things are hard to get over when you're trying to make it back. So I played sparingly in my senior season. Disappointing, very disappointing.
Well, it's just good, Marty. It's good to be here and seeing some people you hadn't seen in a long time. Bringing back great memories, some of the best days of my life were back in those days.
What do you remember in particular about games played here in the Pit in the '75 season?
Just a hard fought. A lot of times we were considered underdogs, and we always found a way to pull things out. And we always considered this our home, and wasn't nobody gonna mess with our home. We were gonna protect it.
How did that team come together? It seemed like it happened during the course of the season.
Well, we started out the first of the year. We had a good team. We had a good nucleus of a team. A lot of us, I think they were 7 of us that started playing since we were sophomores and started. Went into our junior year, our senior year, and we done good with the area championships our junior year. And I don't know, we just, you know how the Lyons Vidalia ball game is. We had opened up with Vidalia that year, lost 6-0. Won the second game of the year. Third game of the year, we went to Jeff Davis and was ahead, and then in the last 30 seconds of the ball game, they ran a, I think, 70 or 80-yard touchdown, and there we were, 1-2 again. We never lost another game after that. Coach Jones just got us. He said, "Listen," he said, "it ain't over with. Let's go," and we pulled the rest of them out. Right.
How did y'all contain George Rogers on championship night?
I'll be honest with you, we were prepared. Coach Jones, Coach Rogers, they studied film and everything like that. And we knew what they were going to do. We knew he was going to run. And listen, I mean, I knew we had to stop him to win. I mean, that was the thing. We were just ready for it. It was good preparation.
What do you remember in particular about, after y'all had won it, the championship celebration, either after the game or, weeks after in the community?
Well, as for me, it was great, but it took a couple days to sink in. And one thing I do remember, the Duluth wore tearaway jerseys is what they had. And I was working with Coach Calloway in the Cedar program, and one part of our job was to clean up the fields after the ball game the next morning. And we found a tearaway jersey, and we retoured the number 20, which was George Rogers' number, off of him that night. We put it in a package, wrapped it up like a present, stuck it on Coach Jones' doorstep, rang the doorbell, and left. Like that. And he said, I didn't know whether to open it or not. you know. But you know, I think he's still got that to this day. You're talking 40 years later.
The greatest thing is tradition. And because of that tradition is what helped us achieve what we achieved 40 years ago. And seeing all the faces and people with a lot less hair, but they're the same. And we're the same team today that we were 40 years ago, and that's why we achieved the success that we did.
Yeah, when you say team, good teams are teams. How did your team develop as a team that season?
Well, I just got to say this, especially being an associate pastor in my church. There's 4 of us that went to Fellowship of Christian Athletes conference that summer, and what we learned there we brought back. We started with prayer before every practice and after every practice, and before every game and after every game, win, lose, or draw. And by putting Jesus Christ in the middle of our relationships together, it brought us together as a team. There was no big I's and no little U's. We were all on the same team, and that was the Lyons High School Bulldogs of 1975.
You know, there's a movie coming out about Woodlawn High School that's kind of a similar theme, and I was supposed to go to Woodlawn before we moved. Have you heard about that?
I've heard about the movie. I haven't seen it. I haven't heard the story or the storyline, what it's supposed to be, but I do know that football's a team sport, and I know that everything that we did, and it started with Coach Jones and Coach Rogers, and it even started a couple years before that when Coach Whitfield was here. But he wasn't here for the state championship team, but it was all about team. It was all about coming together, pulling for one another, having each other's backs, and that's what it was all about. We weren't special athletes per se, but we were a team. And when you came to play Lyons High School, you played the whole team.
Was there a game where everything started to gel, where
Yes.
it really turned the season around?
After the first 3 games, we lost to Vidalia in the opener 6-0. We won the second game against Reedsville, which wasn't a very big win for us. The third game we played at Jeff Davis and lost in the last 30 seconds, 12-8. After that game, we had a team meeting right here in this end zone after practice on Monday, and the seniors got together, and we told the team that we were coming together as a team, and that we were going to take one day at a time, 1 week at a time, and then we were going to see where it led us. We never lost again that season. So after the Jeff Davis game, when we were 1-2, we went on a 10-game winning streak that year and won the rest of the games.
What does it mean to you to have been a state champion? It happens so rarely at some schools, and of course it only happened one time at Lyons Toombs County High School.
It's an achievement. It's a goal that I set when I started playing football as a freshman in high school. I wanted to be on a state championship football team, and I know that was a goal for all the other seniors that graduated with us that year. Tim Mims, Eugene Corbett, Joe Roberts, Mark Roden, Ricky Bowen, all those guys. You know, I know I'm leaving somebody out, but every one of us wanted to be a state champion. And because of the tradition that we had here at Lyons High School, because of the tradition that was built years before, that tradition carried us through, and that tradition is what kept us going. We had to come from behind that year 5 times during that season, including 2 of the playoff games and 1 the state championship game. Here we were behind at halftime and had to come from behind to win. And that was against George Rogers and Duluth High School, and you know who George Rogers is, and you know where he went and what he achieved. So, but anyway, it was a team effort. Wasn't one man, wasn't one coach. It was all of us together.
For those who didn't see you play, would you mind looking back 40 years and kind of describing yourself as a player? I know you don't want to brag or anything, but what were you like?
Probably the number one thing that, if you ask my teammates that same question, probably intensity. I was very intense. I was very fortunate to achieve the level of all-state player my junior and senior year. I didn't take losing very well, and I was very competitive. The slogan that hangs, I hope it hangs in the gymnasium at this high school like it did at ours. Winners never quit, and quitters never win. And that's how I would describe myself. I never quit, kept playing.
Never took a play off on offense or defense?
Played all special teams, played offense and defense. Only time that most of the starters, we didn't have but 28 ball players on our team. Most of the starters, the only time we saw the sideline was at halftime, before the game, halftime, and at the end of the game. Unless we were way ahead, and then we would see the sideline.
It'll be all right, Ricky. Our own Nick Eason, who played in Super Bowls 43 and 45 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, is here to present Coons County High School with the commemorative Golden Football. Mr. Earl Collins. It's been an honor working with Earl. He said he's going to retire at the end of this year, but we'll see. Good job, Earl. Part of the Tommy Rogers family. We'll go forward with TLR. Thank you, Mr. Tommy Rogers and family. Coach Tom Averitt. Third coach and my coach, Coach Jackie Jones. Coach Matt Morrison. Coach Pete Whitfield. Coach Jimmy Alexander. Coach Kevin Hill. And Coach Richard Hardy. We have some fine coaches. And former coach Rex Hodges is now with Eastman.
I missed you, boy. Let's go hit the golf ball, son.
Let's do it. guarantee. How you doing?
Linda Rogers.
Good to see you, buddy.
Earl Rogers' wife is here.
Not as many as they used to be, but they're still a good-looking bunch. Team with the band and cheerleaders. And now, the 1975 State Championship Senior High of Lyons Bulldogs under the direction of Coach Jackie Jones and Earl Rogers. If you'll take the field. That looks like Lee. Hey Joe, once a state champion, always a state champion. Folks, I see fine people down there. Let's give all of them a big hand. Like I said a while ago, the Lyons Senior High 1975 class is here tonight celebrating their 40th class reunion. The Lyons Senior High class of 1985 is here celebrating their 30th reunion. And the Toombs County High class of 1990 is here celebrating their 25th reunion. Good gracious, I see Coach Calloway down there. God. Folks, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. We're all family.
Hey, Mike, stand up.
Band will perform right after the ball game. Stay around and let's rock it.